Hello and welcome to a roundup of some of the best products I've been using over the last few months. So some short, concise reviews, honest feedback on these products and why I recommend them. So today we have a helmet, a pair of shoes and some eyewear. And we'll dive straight in with these very snazzy shoes which are fairly new from Fizik, launched back in April but it's taken a while to reach the hands of reviewers, and the wait was definitely worth it. For a start, I love the look of these shoes, the big Velcro strap and the colour. But if the colour is too bold for you, there is a more subdued option as well. But for me, the colour of these shoes is definitely the star attraction. But there's great performance here as well. Now, these are a gravel mountain bike shoe. I primarily use them for gravel riding. And my very first ride, which I don't recommend to do this at home, was to use them for a 3-day bike packing adventure over the Welsh mountains. So I put some cleats on the day before and went out and did 3 big days in the mountains with some walking, some hiking bike, and they really performed extremely well. Firstly, the comfort was fantastic. These are a size 45 and I'm a 45 in City, Specialized, Giro, most other brands, and the fit is really good. Quite a wide, generous front area, so no kind of squish up toes. I think they do a wider version as well, but for me the width and the fit was very good. No heel slip from the back of the shoe, and the retention, which is a Velcro strap and a burr dial, works really well. You can independently adjust the retention via the Velcro strap and the burr dial. For me, I found having the Velcro quite loose and then the burr dial done up more work for me. But if you want your feet to really lock down, planted in place on the shoe, you can do the Velcro strap up really tight. And there's no slipping when you're really putting out the power. There's no sign of your foot pulling out the shoe at all. So good retention from that combination of a Velcro strap and a burr dial up front, but you can adjust them independently as you want. There's no braking required with this shoe. I don't think there's any braking required with any modern shoe. The materials they use basically work straight out of the box. And for me, that's a good sign that the product has been well designed, that you can go from the box to a 3-day bike packing adventure with no issues and just enjoy the great comfort and performance they offer. The shoes have this woven upper reinforced around the front of the foot and inside, and a heel cup. And we've had a heat wave here recently, but ventilation has been really good. It doesn't look like they would ventilate, but they kept my feet cool when it has been really hot. They're also very durable. There's no cuts or holes despite slamming into rocks and really bashing them into the ground. So durability so far has been very good. We have a super stiff carbon fiber sole. They are a high performance product designed for racing and demanding riders. And the stiffness is definitely up there with an S-Works Recon or a City. So no lack of stiffness. And if you like maximum power transfer, these deliver on that front. So for racing, these will be fantastic. But thankfully, the stiffness is not so high that if you are forced to walk when you are bike packing or gravel riding, your feet won't instantly burn like hell. We also have plenty of fore aft adjustment for the cleats. The option to fit 2 studs, so good for winter riding when it's muddy, and quite a chunky, aggressive tread pattern, but not replaceable, which on a shoe of this price is a bit of a shame. On a City, you can replace this section here when they wear out and these bits here too. So long-term durability is a bit of a question mark. The company says it's designed not to wear out too quickly, and so far the wear rate is pretty good. But for a top-end shoe, you might expect and reasonably demand that these parts of the shoe are replaceable to give you that long-term durability you want. The only downside to these shoes really is the price. A high-end shoe has a high-end price tag, and these cost £300 here in the UK. But right now they are discounted £215 on the company's own website. So still not cheap, but more of a bargain than they are at the retail price. So these for £215 I think are pretty good. Good fit, good comfort, good performance, good durability, fantastic looks, a lot to like. And if you like them, I'll put a link to them down below. Next up, we have a brand new helmet, although at first glance it doesn't look very new at all, from Kask, the Italian company that, thanks to a sponsorship of Team Sky in the last few years, has become very popular, and the Protone has been one of the most popular helmets and a very popular helmet still. The original was launched back in 2015, but the Icon, is a new version. It looks very similar, which is no bad thing. It's a very popular helmet, but a few changes aimed at improving the fit, the ergonomics, ventilation and aerodynamics. Firstly, the fit is very good. Of course, fit is very subjective with helmets, but you get a choice of 3 sizes, which most brands don't offer, normally 2 sizes. This size medium, and fits my very average head very well. Plenty of adjustment from the new improved cradle, which offers a wider kind of surface area, so a better, more planted fit on your helmet, and it really stays in place really nicely, especially gravel riding when you're bouncing around, it stays put very nicely. And a big rotary dial for adjustment on the fly. I like that a lot. Nice bit of feedback as well. The straps are very familiar to the old ones, nice wide webbing. I'm not really a fan of how this leathery strap here sits across the bottom of the chin. Doesn't quite fit flush for me. That's probably the only kind of blemish on an otherwise very good product in my opinion. So visually, the helmet looks very similar to the outgoing Protone, very similar design. It's a good looking helmet, it has to be said, especially in white as well. The main changes are inside. So they reworked on the ventilation, making it a better vented helmet, and they really removed a lot of material inside the helmet and made much bigger channels, which I'll try and show as best I can. And the idea is to encourage more airflow to go through big external vents across the top of your head and then exit out the back. And we've had a heat wave here recently, so plenty of hot weather for retesting the claims for this helmet very well. And I can say it's definitely one of the best vented helmets I've ever used. Probably not the best, not on a par with the Specialized Prevail, which I think is one of the best vented helmets and one of the lightest as well. This is about 230 grams, so not quite as light as that Prevail, but definitely still a lightweight helmet. Doesn't feel heavy on your head at all. But the ventilation is very good, and lots of sweat pads, a very big generous sweat pad around the forehead there, which does a good job of soaking up the sweat and stopping it from raining down your forehead, which can happen with some helmet designs. So for me, the ventilation on this, it's improved over the old one if doing side-by-side comparison testing, and definitely on a par with anything from a HJC or Specialized right now. They've also apparently improved the aerodynamics of the helmet, but without a wind tunnel. Do you see one here? I can't really test that myself, so I'll have to take their claims for it. Now, one big thing missing from this helmet is any sort of MIPS technology. MIPS has become very popular over the last few years at dealing with that rotational force when you crash. So MIPS is the most popular name, usually a yellow kind of liner inside the helmet to allow a bit of slip when your head hits the ground. And other companies have their own version of it, like POC for example, but we don't see anything like that in here. The company does say, as it would do, that the helmet does very well in its own testing of rotational forces, but there's no independent testing. Like Virginia Lab in the US, for example, who are doing a really good job of benchmarking helmets independently. They haven't tested this helmet yet, or a previous version of this, so we can't really see how the helmet compares to other helmets with MIPS and other similar technology. So does the fact this helmet doesn't have MIPS or any recognizable system like that a reason not to buy it? Well, I'm not sure, to be honest. Let me know what you think down below, whether you think the lack of MIPS in this helmet is a reason not to buy it, or whether you're not bothered by MIPS and you think this helmet is just fine without it and you believe the company's own claims. But that aside, it's a fantastic helmet. It looks great, good ventilation, loads of colours to choose from, but I think white looks the best. Really good fit, 3 sizes to choose from as well. Nice retention cradle system, big improvement over the old one. So loads of fit adjustment, and it fits me really well. I'm sure it'll fit you well too. And the price, well, all top-end helmets like this are fairly pricey. This is $245, so not a cheap helmet, but I'm sure it'll be discounted in the future at some point, as most helmets are eventually. But that is the new Kask Protone Icon. Show of hands if you want to ride like Mattia van der Poel. Who doesn't? But a few of us can. But we can look like him with the help of the new shades from Oakley. What do you think of these? Pretty cool, eh? So these are the new Oakley Sutro Lite. Not a new design, but these are a new special edition. These are ones he wore in the Tour de France. So brand new colorway and a new lens color, and I think they look fantastic. Really, really like the look of these. So Sutro Lite is a half-frame version of the original Sutro launched quite a few years ago, and those were one of the first of the new generation of what can only be described as massive shades. You either love it or you hate it, but it's fair to say they have become really popular. All that marketing definitely helps, but for me personally, as someone who wears contact lenses, I like the coverage and protection you get from a big shade, and not having the frame at the bottom of the lens gives you even less to disturb your vision when you're looking ahead and down the road. And by elevating the top of the frame from the nose bridge, you don't have that frame obscuring your vision like you did with old-fashioned shades, like, for example, these ones. These are classic, fantastic back in the day, but you have a much narrower gap between the top of the frame and the nose bridge, and when you're in the drops and head down, you can see the top of the frame in your vision, whereas as you can see side by side, you have a much greater height between the nose and the top of the frame, and that's a big benefit of this design in my opinion. And then there's a fit, which is excellent, first class, really is. Super lightweight, just enough pressure on your temples, hold them in place without getting sore on a long ride. No issue with retention, interference with different helmet brands from Giro, Kask, HJC and many others. And you don't really notice you're wearing them after a while. Even with some shades, you can feel a bit pressure on your nose or around your ears. These just disappear, vanish away. And then there's a lens, which is something that Oakley do really well. These are the Prism Road, really nice contrast in different light conditions, really excel well when it's super bright, and we've had some really sunny weather recently. Not so good when it's a bit darker and overcast or in the woods when you're gravel riding. The best way to look like Mathieu van der Poel, if you've got a Canyon Air Road, get yourself a pair of these and you'll definitely look the part. Now, as with all Oakleys, they are expensive, £175, so not cheap. Oakleys aren't cheap, but despite that, and the immense amount of marketing they do and the sponsorship of rides like Mathieu van der Poel, they're still very, very popular. And the number of people wearing them shows that people are prepared to pay for the Oakley name and the quality they do offer. Anyway, those are some reviews of products I've been using recently. Got some more exciting stuff coming out soon, and I promise some more affordable stuff as well. It's not all high-end, super expensive stuff here on Just Ride Bikes, I assure you of that. If you want to see some more reviews of similar products, then check the video right here. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button down here. But that's all for today. I'll see you again very soon. Thank you so much for watching.